am your host, Sam Fisher, here today with, I'm not going to like build it up too much, but one of my favorite people, Haylie McCleney.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. I think we could end the podcast now just because that was so wonderful and just so nice to see you. So thanks,
No,
everybody.
I'm really glad we're just a couple friends hanging out, so this is literally
Truly.
perfect.
I wish that you were here in my living room instead of across the country on Zoom, but we take what we can get.
Shout out to COVID.
Yeah, man, what a year. Halo, speaking of COVID, how has, I mean, how's your year been? It's
It's
been a
been good.
year.
Yeah, it's been quite a year. It's been good, and I say that because it's been challenging and it's taught me a lot of things.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't the way that I thought 2020 was going to go at
Yeah.
all. Like I thought at this point, like spring of 2021, we would, be coming off an Olympic appearance and hopefully a gold medal and maybe, doing a victory tour of some sort or things like that.
Yeah.
And it's really funny how like you plan your life about how things
Yeah.
are going to go. The
Yeah.
universe is just like, psych, like this is what you're actually going to go through. But I'm super thankful for it because it brought me Athletes Unlimited. Never would
Yeah.
have, probably never would have ventured into that if it wasn't for the Olympics being postponed. It allowed my fiance and I to purchase our first home and
Woo-hoo.
renovate it, which is super awesome. We're hoping to move in soon. So there's just been a year of silver linings, I think. So it's all in how you look at it, but
Ugh,
it's been pretty good. And I'm excited. 2021 shaping up to be a really big year. So
heck yeah.
hopefully we can
That, oh my gosh. What a great way to look at things, Halo. And that's why I like, obviously, that's why I loved you immediately after meeting you, because I feel like that's the attitude you just always have. And that's what I can't wait to talk more about, that kind of, that kind of mindset, that kind of attitude about things that could really bring you down and you don't let it. Like, I
yeah.
think that's so cool and so special. And I realized I asked a question before I really let people know, like, kind of the dominating presence that we have here on the podcast. So if you don't mind, I'm going to talk about you a little extra right now and tell people just what you've accomplished thus far. So sit back, grab some tea if you want to listen. Um, so Haylie McCleney graduated from Alabama Roll Tide in 2016, where you were a four-time All-American, four-time All-SEC, and four-time All-South region. So just like walk on campus and you're like, I'm going to do it. That's what happened. You left Alabama the all-time leader in batting average of 447, mind you. 447. Okay. But you're, on base percentage of 569, which essentially means you spent half your career on base. Sorry.
Pretty cool, I guess.
That's so cool. Um, Walks with 199 and 16 triples. So you're just running around the bases all there. Top 5 in runs, stolen base percentage, slugging percentage, hits, and stolen bases. And during and then after Alabama, you've been with Team USA since 2014. You were on the junior team as well in 2013. With Team USA, you have a gold and silver Pan Am medal, which is cool. World Championships, you got a silver medal and 2 gold medals. And you guys are qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. So let's get some more gold, I think. And
Yes.
you've played in the Athletes Unlimited inaugural season and won Defensive Player of the Year. So Haylie McCleney, is there anything that you can't do?
Bowl. Actually, I'm really terrible at bowling. So if you ever want to have fun with me and watch me get super frustrated and yell and show my like super competitive side,
Yeah.
please take me bowling. I can't decide if I'm right-handed or left-handed.
Oh,
Fun
that must be
fact.
tough. Yeah, because you're throwing and
Difficult.
hitting left-handed, but like it's a different ball
Yeah,
game with a bowling ball.
it's different, and I always seem to find like the gutter either way.
Mhm.
So, yeah, fun
Hey,
fact.
well, at least you're consistent. That's one thing. Just be consistent in the
There you
gutter.
go. There you go.
I'm so happy that that was your answer, and also because you brought up how competitive you are, because I look at you and I think of someone who's extremely competitive, but I also feel like you're so fueled by passion.
Mhm.
Would you say that that would be accurate?
Yeah, I definitely say that's accurate. That's something that my dad always instilled in me growing up was like I think the competitiveness was always just kind of naturally in me. I
Hmm.
grew up with two little brothers too, so like I didn't really have a choice unless I wanted to get beat down like every day of
Yeah,
like
right.
you're gonna compete and like figure it out or you're just gonna be
Yeah.
miserable. So the competition factor was like kind of innately there, but I think the
Yeah.
passionate aspect was really fueled by my dad of just like he calls me little bit, which I think is super cute, but he's like,
Oh
little
my
bit,
goodness.
like if you want to do something, it doesn't matter what it is, you need to do it with literally all your heart, soul, and mind. Like go after it, chase it. And that's something I try to do. Like I'm not gonna do anything at 50%, at 75%. Like if I'm in something, I'm gonna be in it all the way at 100%. And it's how I grew up, it's how I was raised, it's how I still live my life. So it's a nice balance of the competitiveness and the
Mhm.
passion, but it works for me. And
Yeah.
I think it's helped me, really find success, on and off the field too.
Yeah, because you can tell that you love what you're doing, and why spend this much of your life doing something that you're just kind of like, I can take it or
Yeah,
leave it. Also,
exactly.
I didn't know that that is what your dad called you a little bit, because that is the cutest thing, and I think this is why the universe crossed our paths. Is that is what my nana called my dad, was a little bit.
No
I
way.
swear I've never heard anybody else that was like that is like my
Oh, that's
mind. I
cool.
like, can we take a pause? I need to call Rick. No.
Yes, no, get Rick on the line right now.
that
I love that guy.
that is the cutest thing, and I just feel so much more bonded to you right
That's
now. That is
as
so
if we keep
cute.
being closer. Now we're like
Yeah,
we just
here we
leveled
are.
up. It's
Here we
awesome.
are. I love that. And I love that it comes from your dad. And I know your mom, I'm sure your mom has been there too, keeping your head on straight. Cause just the
She's
sweetest
literally
little
the
thing.
best. Funny, like my mom and my dad balance each other out so incredibly well. Like my
Yeah.
dad is the typical, like competitive coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I was growing up, he was coaching baseball, football, and basketball, all three.
Gosh.
And so he would come home after his practices and practice with me in the backyard, whatever sports season I was in, it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom was always there, like balancing out the super competitiveness in me and like making sure I was learning lessons if I didn't get the result that I wanted.
That's
And
amazing.
that was really, really important for me to have growing
Mm-hmm.
up, is like the pushing from my dad and the perspective from my mom
Uh-huh.
really kind of made think like it really truly like shaped how I look at the world and how I
Oh,
see literally everything, like not just sports, but like
yeah.
life in
Yeah.
general. And so I was really, really fortunate to have that because, most people it's like, you get one parent that's like this and another parent maybe is just working all the time or whatever. And like
Right.
I was super, super lucky
Yeah.
and blessed. And you throw my brothers in there and it's just like a really big party,
It's
for us. So
what a McCleney party.
yeah, it's
That's
great. I love
that's
them.
incredible. And that, like you said, it's not just about sports, it's about life, where you have, sometimes you lose. Like, no matter, you could love it the most, you could work the hardest, and sometimes you lose. And how do you deal with that? How do you go forward? How do you not let that totally just take you under and make you miserable or make you quit?
Yeah, it's like it's you have to ask yourself like what you're identified by, right? Like
Right.
I would rather be identified as someone that never gave up and always competed and always loved
Mm-hmm.
what I was doing and had a good time while I was competing
Yeah.
than someone that's like it's so much more than wins or losses,
Right.
Like
Right.
yes, I want to win. Like don't get me wrong, like I
Right.
want to kick your butt every time I step on the field against you.
Yeah.
But like we need to all understand like you can't win at everything. You can't be the
Right.
best at everything. Work
Right.
hard with what your skill set is, go after it. Let the results fall where they may. There's always a lesson to be learned
Yeah.
along the way. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that took me a really long time to grasp. Like,
Really?
yeah, like I hated failure.
Yeah.
I felt like I should be the best. And I felt like I always had to perform at that level of like, okay, like
Mm,
growing up, especially small town in Alabama, I mean, 2,000 people, like
so small.
tiny, tiny area.
Yeah.
And I was a really athletic kid. So I
Mhm.
felt like growing up, I was like, I'm the best athlete here.
Mhm.
And there was all these pressures of like, well, I have to perform and continue to be the best and continue to be the best. And like the
Yeah.
older I got, the more I realized is like, no, like you're gonna learn more when you actually don't win. Like, yes,
Right.
want to win, want to compete, but you have to find the silver lining of learning those lessons along the way because that's gonna help keep you on, a good track to find success later on in your career and later on in life. So
Yeah.
it kind of forced me to like fall in love with learning,
Oh, yeah.
invested in the process, and like actively seeking out how can I get better? How can I
Yeah.
continue to improve? How can I continue to compete against myself every day?
Yeah.
You know?
That that man, That's amazing. And I think what's cool too is the point that you mentioned is like there is pressure with being the best, where it's like the fear of failure is one thing, but then when you have that success and that pressure to maintain that success and to maintain being the best, that's almost as scary as just failing, because now you're up here. If I lose, I'm going to get knocked totally down. So
Right.
that's,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's funny you say that, because it's like at that point, you're not really afraid of failure. You're afraid of what other people think of your failure.
that's a really good point.
And like once you lose that of I'm I'm going to do what I can to help the team that I'm on right now win. That's what I'm focused on. I'm not worried about the outside noise. Like all of
Mm-hmm.
the rest is like it's all commentary. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't
Right.
change what's actually going on. Like you're in charge of that. You
Yeah.
know, like that
Yes.
you got to stop caring about what people think.
Gosh, you're right. You're so right. It really is. It's all commentary. Now, if it comes from a coach, if it comes from your parents, those are the things that you could listen to more. But if it's someone who's just like, oh, hey, Haley, she doesn't have it anymore, you're like, okay, I don't know about you, but I've got it. Like,
Exactly. You have a filter, I guess, for
yeah,
all of the voices that are in your life.
yeah,
If it's meaningful to you, then yeah, absolutely take it. Be coachable. Take the advice of people that you trust. But like all the stuff from the outside doesn't really matter.
that's, let's go. Roll Tide.
Roll tide to that.
Roll
Yes.
Tide to that. That I think learn like that kind of mindset. Number one has, I'm sure, like you said, it made you fall in love with learning. It made you fall in love with, how do I make it so that I don't fail again or in this same
Mm,
way? And I know for a fact that that has made you the teammate that you are, because I
yeah.
love being around you when we've been on the same team, because like, hey Fish, so what? You know,
Yeah.
next at bat, or
Yeah.
those kind of things. Have you, because of all those lessons that you've learned, have you always been like that, or did it take you some time to learn how to be that teammate for people as well?
Yeah. It definitely took some time. It wasn't an overnight process. I
Hmm.
think I had I had selfish tendencies. I still do. I think we all do.
Naturally.
Of like wanting to like just internalize our failures and
Hmm.
really just like be with our own thoughts, which is honestly like playing softball is just a miserable place to be because
Yes.
like I get so jealous of like people that play like a basketball or like even a football sometimes, like because everything is just so fast,
Right.
right? Your brain doesn't have time to really sit and process what you're
Hmm.
dealing with. Whereas in softball, if I'm 0 for 3, there are potentially like innings
Yes.
where I am just sitting on, oh my God, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
And it is so difficult. That's such a difficult place to be in. But once I started to like really fall in love with the learning process, what I
Yeah.
kept coming back to and like the lesson I kept coming back to was always like, it's about your team. Like that's the
Hmm.
main thing that I learned was
Hmm.
it's not about you. It's, whatever. Um, it's about you using your failures to hopefully allow the hitter behind you to find some success, or
Yeah.
your pitcher find some success, or
Yeah.
turning off your offensive switch, truly being present on defense and
Right.
making like a huge defensive play for your pitcher.
Right.
Like we do play like such a team game. Like, and at the end of the day, like if my performance is so bad, like no one's going to remember that in
Right.
10, 15 years, but they're
Right.
going to remember how I treated them. Like they're going to remember the type of teammate that I was.
Yeah.
So it all continually went back into that, that kind of perspective. And Coach Murphy at Alabama, Coach Allie, Habits, they really invested in me,
Yeah.
not only from a player perspective but from a person perspective,
Mm.
and they dove into developing me into a servant leader, like dove
Amazing.
into that. They did that with all of us,
Hmm.
but it was such on a personal level with me that like I'm super grateful that I learned all the stuff that I did at Alabama, because
Hmm.
I wouldn't be I would not still be playing softball, I don't think, if I didn't go to
Wow.
Alabama and learn all of that off the field stuff, because that's what's gotten me to this point is
That's
like just being a
amazing.
good teammate, trying to be somebody that people enjoy being around, like
Yeah.
fun loving, lighthearted jokester, like
Yeah.
trying not to take the game too seriously because we all like like we all think it's life or death and it's not. Like
Right.
um
That's so
like
true.
just trying to have fun, like playing the
Mhm.
game. I
Yeah.
learned all of that. I learned all of that from them.
Oh,
And I'm still trying to get better at that every single day, but
Right.
that's the approach that I take. Like,
Yeah.
what's my legacy gonna be? I don't really care if my batting average was, what did you say it was, in like 4 or something?
A
I don't know.
lot.
Like,
Yeah.
I
It
don't
was
care.
high.
Like, that's not. I don't want people to remember me that way.
Yeah.
Like, I want people to remember me as like, you know what? She was a great softball player, but she was an even better teammate.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I love that. That's amazing. And you can, I mean, shoot, you can just hear the passion coming through when you're talking about those kinds of things and
Yeah.
talking about the game and what it brings you, because the game, like the game will always be there, but you will not always be on the field playing it. So, like, what are you? Who are you really? And what, when softball, when the cleats are hung up, what are you now going forward as? And I think that's, oh gosh, I think that's so cool when you talk about, like you said, if you're 0 for 3 and you have so much, especially in the outfield, you're far away from everybody else. Like, you don't have anybody to talk to where you're like, hey man, I suck. But I think
Tough, man.
it's, what a lonely place to be out there all by yourself in center field. You're like, can someone bring me an ice cream cone?
Yeah.
Like, please. But something that, like, I think about is in the same realm of thinking about your team, especially with you, like those big plays that you can make out there and diving and robbing hits really changed the game, right? Where you could have been
Mhm.
feeling like absolute crap about yourself because you looked at strike 3 or something
Mhm.
happened, and go out there and be a game changer for your team. I also think whenever, if I, say we're on the same team and say I'm on deck and you strike out, I
Mhm.
don't ever think, God, Haylie, like that, that was terrible.
Exactly.
I think, good try, Halo. I'm going to go try,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So we're so hard on ourselves when in reality, we would never think that way about somebody else,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
ever.
exactly. Like, be the same teammate to yourself that you want to be for other people. Like, why is that such a double standard? I don't know, but I
So
get,
interesting.
we all have this like little ego like inside of us that just
Mhm.
constantly speaks, and
Yeah.
like you can tone it down and you can, get those competitive juices flowing in the right way, or you can
Mhm.
really like internalize yourself and make yourself miserable.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to do in this game. Like you mentioned the outfield stuff, like we're
Yeah.
out there like alone, chilling, a lot of free space, a lot of time to think, like not super worried about like pitch to pitch alignments, but like,
Mhm.
just paying attention to it. It's not as intense, I don't think, of like I have to zone in right here mindset of like a pitcher or catcher or even an
Mhm.
infielder in some
Mhm.
cases. But that's a double-edged sword because it can be kind of dangerous for your
Yeah.
mind. So like one of the hardest things for me to grasp was not taking my at bats out on defense.
Oh, yeah.
That was so hard for me to grasp. And like
Yeah.
it wasn't until like I started to, improve my defense and be able to make plays, um,
Mhm.
that really could change the momentum of the game, that I realized like
Mhm.
the ball could come to me at any moment. Like
Yeah.
I need to be ready. I need to be present, make sure I get a good jump on the ball.
Yeah.
Because I played behind a lot of really good pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
had I had Jackie Trina at Alabama. I
Yeah.
had Alexis Osorio. I had Sydney Littlejohn. I had Leslie I had all of these pitchers
Yeah.
in Alabama that were like, okay, if a ball gets it to the outfield, like it's like once every couple of innings,
Right.
And now on Team USA, it's like, hello, Monica Abbott,
Right.
hello, Pat Osterman,
Right.
Kaylani, Rachel Garcia, Ali Carta. Like, I don't get a lot of stuff. So you can
Yeah.
go into like this deep dark pit of, oh
That
my
is
God, I'm
so
over
true.
4, or like, let's just see if I can make a play today.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my offense might suck, but like I'll try my best on defense, and that's how I can contribute to the team that day. Like,
Right.
you know,
That is so true. Oh my God. And you're out there. And you know what? The best thing, if you watch a game, if somebody's out there watching a game, they can hear Haylie McCleney in the outfield cheering on the pitchers, the infield, the other outfielders. Like, you could get 0 balls all game, but you are out there like any second it could happen and you're ready. You're there for it.
it's happened plenty of times where I don't get a ball the entire
Oh my
game,
God.
but
Outfield, man.
part of my legacy, I want to be like making my presence known. Like
Oh, yes.
you're gonna know as a pitcher that I had your back regardless,
Yes.
even if you didn't give me any balls that day to field for you, which
Right.
is honestly a good thing.
Right.
Like I will take that. Like I'll
Yes.
be the biggest hype man like
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah,
I'm,
honestly.
I
Your
am the
goal
hype.
for your goal for them is to get no balls hit to you, even though you want to catch
Correct.
them. You're like, I
Correct.
want you to do the best that you can do, which means I don't get anything. So,
Exactly.
deal.
And I'm there just in case you happen to make a mistake, just
Right.
in case.
Right. I love that. I think, I feel like I keep going back to thinking about you and thinking about passion and just that it just shines through so much in every aspect. And, like you said, coming from your dad, coming from growing up and all that. But the thing that I see too is not only on the field, not only in the dugout, but in other aspects of your life. Like for people who don't know, you have your master's degree in exercise physiology. You
Yes.
are like hearing you talk about the weight room and like seeing the videos of you working out in there. Like you can see you're passionate about that too. Like
Yeah.
that is so cool. And that combines with softball. Like when did that passion and love kind of start for you? Has it always been there or did it start once you started weight training? And how did that all happen?
Yeah, I think once I started weight training in high school, I had a
Mm,
really good strength coach in high school,
yeah.
who was actually the husband of my high school softball coach.
Oh
And
my God.
so he was the offensive line coach for football and the strength
Cool.
coach, and then his wife was the softball coach. And
Hmm.
right away, like I noticed a huge improvement in my game.
Mm,
I was stronger. I felt faster. I
mm,
felt like my legs were underneath me a lot
mm,
more.
mm.
I wasn't tired as quickly. And I think like I was the scrawniest kid on my team. Like I'm not tall.
Mm.
Like I'm 5'4". In high school, I weighed, a little over 100 pounds, and that
Oh
was
my God.
it. And so
So
like
little.
I was so little. And speed was the name of my game. I was good
Mhm.
at softball just because I put the ball on the ground and run.
Right.
And like that got me where I need to be. And then once I started to get recruited after I'd started working out, I kind of realized like the way that the college game was going, like you can't like I can't I didn't feel like it was in my best interest to only be a slapper. I
Mm,
felt like I had to at least be able to prove that I could hit for power, not necessarily rack up home runs, but like
right.
be able to drive doubles into the gap extreme like confidently.
Mhm.
Ended up getting to Alabama. Um, Slapped primarily my freshman year because I was hitting behind Kayla Bro, who is
Mm,
like a legend of
yeah.
Alabama football. And really, my main job was just to move her over and make the
Mm.
team happy. So that's what I did. Like,
Yeah.
get on over there, and that'll be great.
Yeah.
Um, and my sophomore year going in, Coach Murphy was like, like we need to hit you to hit for more power.
Mhm.
Ended up putting on 15 pounds of muscle, and
Woo!
like I want to say either doubled or tripled my home run numbers in one year,
Unbelievable.
just because of like really buying into the weight room process.
Mhm.
So it's more like I see like firsthand exactly what it did for me. Would
Mhm.
not be on the national team without it, wouldn't be on the Olympic roster without weight training.
Mhm.
And I want to bring that to other kids, because it's not just like this natural ability that you have to play softball. It's so much more than that. It's
Mhm.
how you approach it mentally, how you prepare your body before you even get on the field, how you recover after. Like it's an all-encompassing lifestyle, I think, that you have to live. It's not just, I'm going to go play a softball game today. Like
Right.
it's all of those other things that are involved with it. And I just think not a lot of people are really aware of what it can do for you
Right.
until you watch the results. And the biggest asset that you have as an athlete is your body and its availability.
Yeah.
Like, you're no good to your team if you're hurt all the time.
Yes. Right.
Like you have to be able to be on the field and be strong and be fast and be explosive and be powerful. And that's what the weight room's done for me. It's made me strong, it's made me
Yeah.
happier, it's made me more durable.
I was going to say too, longevity, going into wanting to play longer than just college, like you have to have
Yeah,
that body. Durability is huge, making sure that
absolutely.
you can keep putting your body out on the field and taking those swings and running those sprints and doing all the
Mhm.
things, throwing the ball. Like this thing needs to be strong.
Absolutely.
Like,
Arguably, this needs to be the strongest,
yeah,
right? Like
this will
at least
fall
the most
off.
durable. Exactly.
Yes.
Like we don't want to let go of the ball in the outfield and then all of a sudden our shoulders dislocated
Where
because
you're
we
like, oh,
exactly, like we can't have that.
yeah.
And it's if you I it's the discipline factor of it as well too, because
Mm,
this, like being on the national team and playing professional softball for as long
mhm.
as you have, like there's a level of discipline,
Yeah.
like personal discipline within that, to like commit to putting your body in the right position and
Yeah.
treating it the right way.
Yeah.
And it's super easy because we compete, what, 3 months out of the
Right.
year, like max,
Ish. Yeah.
right? Usually. And so like you have like potentially like 8 to 10 months, give or take, like alone,
You
completely by yourself. Like
yeah.
you have to take ownership of getting up every day, going to the gym, lifting
Mhm.
weights, making sure your body's in prime, conditioning
Yeah.
state. Like that is difficult on top of
It's
managing all of our what is the term now, like branding or
oh,
whatever, which is
yeah.
like how we make extra cash or whatever. Like you're managing all of these responsibilities, and
Mhm.
then you have like, oh, I'm still a professional athlete, and like the balance of
Yes.
those two things can get extremely difficult.
Yeah.
So it's like that's been an eye-opening thing for me since I've
Yeah.
graduated college, of like building routine
Oh,
into,
yeah.
like, it's a non-negotiable. I gotta go to the gym.
I love that.
Non-negotiable.
I love that. That's cool because like you said, dude, your body is your job. Like you ha-
Literally.
your body is your job. You have to make sure that it's there to perform, primed to
Yes.
perform, and
Yes.
I think too, cuz I started lifting also in high school, and I mean, I fell in love with it so
Mhm.
quickly. It's so cool. Like it's just in general like the things that your body can start to do. You're like, "Oh,
Yes.
neat." But I know going through college and even after, and especially being a woman and hearing a lot of things, so I don't want to get bulky, like I don't want to be I don't I don't want to look manly, and those
I just want to be toned. That's my
yes,
favorite.
we're like,
That's my
listen,
favorite one.
lift
Like,
the heavy things, put them
yeah,
down, you're gonna be
you're an
fine.
athlete. You're an athlete.
Yeah.
You're not some like European model. Like you're not like that's not you. That's not your job. Like
Yeah.
if you're truly bought into the, like, I think here's how I look at it. Like if you're truly bought into being the best softball player you can be,
Hmm.
you want to be the strongest, most muscular, most like in shape person that you can be.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's how I look at
Yeah.
it. And like I
Yeah.
think it's very, very difficult as women because we have all of these like stereotypes
Yeah.
and images that we feel like we have to live up to
Hmm.
in our society and in our culture that just really aren't true.
Not at all.
Not at all. Like um, we have to be able to look in the mirror and be like, no, I'm proud of myself. Like
Yeah.
not only like it's not about necessarily how you look. It's more I think about how you feel.
Yeah.
I look at myself and I'm like, I'm strong.
Yeah.
I'm fast.
Yeah.
Like I know I can perform with the way that my body looks right now. Like I
Yeah.
feel really good. And that's the cool thing about the weight room too, is like it's funny how people, the more they lift, they think they're going to bulk up, but it's
Mhm.
actually like the heavier you lift, like the more confident you are about yourself regardless.
Right.
Because you're breaking down these barriers of like, I never thought I could lift this much weight, or I never thought I could run this fast. Like, and that just builds up that self-confidence.
Yes.
You're
And
able
then
to
you
look in the mirror and like when you're brushing your teeth at night, like, I crushed that today. Like
whoa.
that's such a cool feeling. It's such a
Yeah.
cool feeling. But as women, we are just like a little bit, I think, hesitant, a little bit fearful
Mhm.
of like, is this actually gonna work? How am I actually gonna feel? And
Mhm.
until you dive into it, like all in 100% committed, you're never gonna know. And what's
Right.
on the other side of it is so rewarding.
Yes. And being able to look at yourself through the lens of self-confidence, that's like
Mhm.
you you're changing the way that you feel in general because you're looking at yourself in such a positive light and thinking, look what my body can do. Like there's times I'm sure all of us in general, but like we said, especially as women, like I'm really tall, like and
Mhm.
there's days where like things don't fit the way that they fit on someone who might be 5'4",
Right.
or this or that. And then I think to myself, wait, this body can hit the ball really far.
Yeah. And
Like I
again,
don't
that's my job.
yeah.
Like that's what like I get paid to hit ball far.
Ball go far, me get money.
Yes. All the like that it's
Yes.
that's how it goes.
And
And
yes.
you just you take and again, like it's so much more than a game, it's so much more than a lift, right? It's just
Yes.
it's all bigger than that. And it all fits into like this huge life lesson
Right.
thing. We're just learning every single day something new about ourselves, which is
It's
crazy.
man, it doesn't stop. It sure doesn't. That's for sure.
Absolutely
The
not.
the feeling of I have my dream job because I have this that I'm working with, this
Yeah,
body.
that's a good
If I had
I
a
never thought about it like that. That's amazing.
like if I had it something different, then maybe I wouldn't be living out my dream of doing professional softball, traveling the world, all these things if I was 50 pounds lighter or, those kinds of thoughts. I feel really confident now about that.
I'm literally, as soon as this is over, I'm gonna go write that in my journal because that is like, that's awesome perspective.
If, it's, you just, like you said, it's all about the way that you look at things. And I think, you know, with that comes, like you said, discipline, being able to have the strength mentally to change the way that you look at things, no matter what it is. And like you said, 2020, the year of the dumpster fire, and you look at it as a year of silver linings. So I think that's an extreme strength to have that mentally, because shoot, you're right now on the ride of your life leading up towards July, going to Tokyo, you know, on that note of being, being an Olympian, playing in the Olympics, has that, since you started playing softball, has that been your dream, or has that kind of just developed in you getting more and more successful?
No, I never really thought about it like growing up. But my
Yeah.
dream growing up was to play basketball for Pat Summitt at Tennessee.
Okay. Okay. Totally different dream.
Right. And then I stopped growing and that quickly faded. um I don't want to say that was around like 8th grade or whatever, but like
Yeah.
I started to venture from like, and I kept playing basketball throughout my senior year of high
Course.
school. Like I didn't stop. I loved it so much. I still love basketball to this
Oh,
day.
that's
But,
awesome.
like once I started to venture into the softball realm of things and realizing that I was probably going to go to college and play softball, I was like, okay, like I'm going to have a good 4 years. I'm going to get my education and
Mhm.
I'm going to be a strength coach after that. That's
Wow.
exactly what I want to do. That's what I thought the path for me was.
Yeah.
And, it was right around that time too where I really started to like fall in love with the learning aspect of
Mhm.
things and just like
Mhm.
trying to get a little bit better every day. And um I never in a million years would have thought that I would be
Wow.
on an Olympic stage playing softball too. Because when it was
Mhm.
voted out after the '08 games,
Yeah.
a lot of people didn't think it would get back.
Yeah.
We were hopeful for 2012 for a little bit, and then in 16 for a little bit, and then it wasn't until like it got announced that it was in Tokyo that there was actually some hope. So I
Right.
lived like a good majority of my prep career and even a little bit of
Yeah.
college of like softball's not an Olymp like it's just not an Olympic
That's so
sport. Like
true.
it
Yeah.
wasn't even really in my mind. My focus was like trying to be the best version of myself and trying to
Mhm.
be the best servant leader that I could for my team, which
Mhm.
was I was at Alabama at the time.
Mhm.
And even my first year on the national team in 14,
Mhm.
it was just like, I'm gonna do this because like I think it's really dope to represent my country.
Yeah.
That was enough for me,
Yeah.
honestly.
Wow.
That was I honestly just kept playing year to year after that, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it came back, and then once we found out softball was back on for
Mhm.
Tokyo in 2017, I was like, you know what, like I might have a chance at this,
Yeah.
and so it like the dream like it died in '08, and then it came
Yeah.
back to life in 17, and everything in the middle of it was just me learning and growing every single day.
Right.
And looking back on it now, it was like, no, this was like all of this has been a preparation for this year. What
Yeah.
I thought was 2020, but even then, like
Right.
2020 was my preparation year to get mentally where I needed to be, like my the physical shape of my mind, basically, for 2021.
Mhm.
Like there are a lot of things perspective wise that I thought I knew, but I never really had to put into practice
Yeah.
until 2020 hit, and
Yeah.
now I feel a lot more confident and stable and like ready to attack 2021 with a whole new
That's
type of type of mentality. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer to your question,
it
but
was
it's just it's a
fantastic.
process.
I loved every second of it because you're being in the present moment. Like you said, everything was kind of year to year, just kind of
Mhm.
going through it. You don't really know if there's an end goal or anything, but you're just being present, being in the moment, and look at what that's been able to bring to the table is going out there competing for your country on the biggest stage that there is for international anything. So I think that there's obviously that lesson in there of being present and just focusing on you, focusing on getting better, focusing on being a teammate, like you said, servant leader, all those things. And now, oh my God, it's so close.
It's crazy. It's really crazy to think about. Like, I mean, we were just talking about like before we got on here. Like, it feels like I've been out of college for 2 years, and now it's like year 6 or 7 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
It's like it's so funny because when you really are truly living present, like you lose track of that time.
Yeah.
And then it's crazy, like when you just have these little moments of reflection, it's like, I've come a long way. Like
Yeah.
I have some stuff to be proud of.
Hell yeah.
And that's super, super important. Like, I don't
Yes.
know. It's a dream like 13 years in the making, honestly.
Gosh, yeah.
08 to 21.
That's how old, so how old were you in 2008? 13?
I was in 8th grade. I was 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, cuz I was graduating high school in 2008. So the what you're saying about kind of having the dream is not there in 2008 cuz you're like then you went through all of high school going
Mhm.
into college without it being in the Olympics. So that makes so much sense why it wasn't really there as a, it wasn't on your dream board, like
Right,
because
exactly.
you weren't, it wasn't, it really wasn't there. And now, oh my gosh, here we are,
Right. And then, I mean,
2021.
we were talking about it before, like, you're not that much older than me,
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's just crazy how things, like, in such a few years can, like,
Right.
flip the mind of, like, athletes that love the same sport,
Yeah.
that play the same way. Like,
That's
it's
trippy.
it's weird because, like, it's for all of us, and I know that we've all had these conversations, like, the people that are on the Olympic roster and even some of our friends that play for other international teams,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, Italy, Canada, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like the timing had to be just right for
Yes.
us. If
Yes,
we
it
were
did.
like, you know what I mean? Like if I was a little bit older, would I still be playing? I don't know.
Right.
If I was a little bit younger, would the committee still like me enough to put me on the team? I don't know. Like
Right.
we all kind of like you had to be born at the perfect like it's almost like it's destiny,
Yes, it
you know.
is.
And it's also really cool to have that perspective too. But you don't
Yeah.
know that unless you like take the time to actually like look back on it and be like,
Right.
whoa, dude, like universe is kind of
Yes.
trippy.
It is where you can sit back and if you think about it for too long, you're almost like, whoa,
Exactly.
how'd
Exactly.
this
It's just crazy.
happen?
It's like, but you know that like this is where I'm meant to be. This is what
Yeah.
I'm meant to be doing. This is my purpose in my life to make
Yeah.
people better along the way with me, like
Yeah.
while we're all trying to accomplish something. So
Yeah. And I think that's cool because then that's going to relate to obviously you, well, like you said before, you wanted to get your degree, go be a strength coach. That dream is still there to go and be a strength coach after you're done playing, right? So you
yes,
still have these things, these purposes, and you want to, you want to help people get stronger, get better, get smarter. You're going to still continue to do that after you're done playing. Just it's going to be in the weight room instead of watching you out on the field,
exactly. Yeah,
That's
and
so
that's good.
cool.
It's perfect for me because that's where I know I'm gonna get my competitive like juices out.
Totally.
Is like having the having the humility to dive into that process for someone else and make someone else better and watch them succeed. Like
Right.
at the end of the day, to me, that's more rewarding than
Mhm.
finding success on my own. Like if I helped you hit
Yeah.
15 more home runs than you ever have or whatever, like
Yeah.
if I help you find success on the field, like that makes
Yeah.
me 10 times more fulfilled. Like
Yeah.
that's and I found that like even was able to be a strength coach at Florida A&M
Right.
for a couple of years before the Olympic roster was announced. And
Mhm.
I've never felt more like pride and joy watching the athletes that I coached succeed on the field.
Oh,
It's the coolest freaking thing. And the cool thing about being a strength coach too, and not like a sport coach, like I'm not on the field with any of the softball players.
right.
I don't do any hitting stuff with them. I didn't do like any on the field stuff I had no part of.
Mhm.
I had the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
So I could see just based off of their demeanor, how they attacked the weight room and their academics as well, like
Yeah.
how much that translated to
Oh,
on the field success. And you get a
yeah.
first hand, like eye opening close up look at that. It changes your world.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Like be completely changed. Like also the success of my teammates as well.
Yeah. That's incredible cuz like I think the cool thing about all the things that
That's
you're saying, all the things that you're talking about is the attention to detail of going in there, being able
incredible.
to correlate deadlifting 10 pounds heavier than your past heaviest and going out there and
Yeah.
the ball going 5 feet farther and all of a sudden it's over that outfielder's head, where it's just the little pieces that add up, like just talking about your journey, your your path to here is paying attention to the little things create the big things. And I mean, I saw your Instagram stories when these girls were out there lifting in the weight room and you're just hyping them up and you're like, yes, like
Yeah,
that you can't fake that. That's not that you cannot fake that.
you can't. And I think it's that confidence piece too, especially for women and
Yeah.
young female athletes. It's that confidence piece of like,
Yeah.
no, this makes me feel like feeling strong is great. Feeling
Yes.
confident is great. Like
Yeah.
I can deadlift 300 pounds. Like, yeah, I just absolutely crushed that. And now I'm going to go make an A on my test. And now I'm going to be a leader that my team needs. And now I feel confident enough to like really step in that box and own that batter's box. Like
Yeah.
it all adds up. Like the sum of our life is every single day that we lived. Right. So
Yeah.
like, it's all of the little things that add up to the big things.
Yes. And I don't know about you, but like I think about, getting stronger and I think about if somebody asks me, "Oh, do you need help carrying that?" and I say, "No, I got it." That is
That's like, nah, I don't need
nope.
it.
You know what? Give me another one. I'll carry
Yeah.
both.
I've got 20 grocery bags actually,
That's
10 on
right.
each arm, and I don't need your help. Thank you though.
Yeah. No, and I'll open the door for myself to get in
Yeah,
there too. Like I
totally.
got this.
Yeah,
I think yeah, so I've never really thought of it that way. I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because just I feel like what you're saying about being able to see yourself through that confidence, through your, the way that you feel about yourself just makes everything just seems like a little brighter, a little bit more like feeling good about yourself puts that feeling good out there, out into the universe, out into those around you too, So, man, I knew I was going to have a good time talking to you and feeling like I knew I was going to feel good, but like I feel like it feels real good.
it does. I feel like we've had these conversations
Yeah.
too, like
Yeah.
just in being your teammate for so long and playing with you, and
Yeah.
it's really really cool to just I don't
It's
know. You like for me, you're someone that I've always looked up to because you get it, like
oh,
you understand like the teammate aspect of it, the little fine details of it, and it's
mhm.
like that's who you want to surround yourself with. That's
Yeah.
who that's the friends that you want to make. So I'm super thankful we had this time today too, because
Oh,
it's anytime that I can be around you, dude, like you're just a ray of sunshine constantly, and I love it. Like let's
oh,
go grab coffee after. Do you want?
yeah.
We can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll be right there. I'm going to get on my bike. I'll be at your house in like 6 months on my bike and
Great.
we'll have that coffee. But I just you're so special. You're such a light. I feel like now this is just a compliment fest, but I like it needs to be said. It needs to be said on recording. Like
Thank
you're
you.
such a
Thank
light, and I think that what you want for your legacy and what you want for those, when in the future 10 years. Oh, Haylie McCleney, yeah, she'd this, right? Oh yeah, she would like you could tell she was out there on the field. She was the best teammate. Like I think your legacy is you're creating it the way that you want it to be remembered. So,
thank you.
and I'll always remember you too as someone who when I see you, I'm just like, oh, you can't there's not everybody's like that. There's people who you're happy to see, but then I swear every time I see you, I just am like so overwhelmed with joy.
I appreciate that. It's the feeling is mutual.
Oh, great. Also, I feel that way when I see your parents too. So
They're honestly same. They're literally the cutest human beings to ever
they
exist. So,
are. I mean, your brothers are really cool too, but
they are, yeah.
and I know you're such a proud sister, but I just something before we end, I think that it's really cool. The coolest thing I think about you, even though I've said 100 cool things, I think the number one cool thing about you is that you are the same in every area of your life. You're passionate, you're dedicated, you're present, and I think that that shines so much through. You can see it in your relationships with, your fiance, your parents, your brothers. Hearing you talk about your brothers is like hearing just someone talk about like the creation of the sun, like,
No, that's what they are for me. Like because I mean, I saw them grow up. Like I saw them
Yeah.
become the men that they are. You know,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Like I don't feel like their parent, but like I just feel like I'm a little bit overprotective of them, and
Of
like
course.
I want them to find success, and they bring so much light to my life. Like they're
Yeah.
so funny, they're so happy.
Yeah.
They don't take life too seriously. Like none of the three of us do. Like they're just so fun to be around, and
I
they're
love it.
such good kids, and I guess good young men now. That
Yeah. Oh
feels
my
weird
God.
to say, but I mean Walker's 22 and Garrison's 18 now, so
No.
it's terrifying. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm super proud of them. Walker just finished up playing baseball at Alabama, and Garrison
Oh,
in college baseball now, so
what a life.
it's awesome. I'm definitely a proud big sister.
Yes, and you can tell. And what a life it must be to be a McCleney. Like I invited myself over to your guys' house in 2014, and I am still like I'm coming. And your
You
mom
are all
every
welcome.
time she's like, "You're still gonna come to Alabama, right? We're gonna have to
No,
bring
she
blood
has not
organic."
let you. She has not let
Lord.
that invitation just
Oh,
fly into the wind.
yeah,
She's
it's happening. I'm like,
about you.
Kevin, I'm going with or without you. We're going to Alabama. Let's do it. But Haylie, thank you so much for your time, for sharing with me. I I I could go on and on about how much I love you and how amazing you are for this sport and how amazing you are for the girls that are coming up looking at you and wanting to be just like you. So you're an incredible role model, and you're an incredible teammate and an incredible podcast guest.
Ah, thank you so much. Thank you again for having me. This
Of
was awesome.
course, of
So
course.
fun. You're the best.
You're the best. And unknown pro people, all you listening out there, you guys are the best. Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning. And we will see you next time.